From our studios in beautiful Mandan, North Dakota, along the mighty Missouri River, here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
Man, am I tired.
How tired are you? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm tired of dealing with my identity being stolen, my Social Security at risk.
You're talking about the whole Equifax
scams going on. I'm just tired, Jim. So we have a cybernet security specialist in studio. We call him Pretty Boy Nagel. And he'll be talking to us a little bit later about how you can probably not be so tired from all of this crazy stuff. At the control panel, producer extraordinaire Jim Walsh.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
Not too shabby.
Good. Have a good weekend?
Pretty good. I got a chance to lay low a little bit, enjoy the cooler weather.
Did you get to the downtowners?
No, just very briefly, I swung by on Saturday. The weather was
yep.
But there was a decent turnout from what I saw.
You know, when I went by on Friday, too, I was surprised. I mean, it was really coming. The rain was really coming down for a while. It was nice
and
to see.
And we need the rain. We can't complain about the rain.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody was complaining too much.
No, I understand.
Yeah. And speaking of Bismarck, we just happen to have the Bismarck mayor here.
His Honor, the mayor.
Mike Seminary standing right next to me. How you doing, Mike?
I'm great. How are you, Mr. Tired?
I'm doing great, too. So
if that stuff upsets you could live like Ted Kaczynski in a little shack in the middle of nowhere. Just don't blow anything up.
Yeah, I guess that is probably true. I'll put up with the inconvenience for the better life that we have, I guess.
And your brother will turn you in.
Yeah, but I got to say, I really am. I don't know about you, Mike, but I really am tired of, like, every time I turn around, there's another security breach someplace or whatever, and we're just under attack all the time now. So I don't know. I mean, have you had issues with this in the past, personally, or?
We have.
We as in the city?
No, in terms of family. Oh. And like anybody else, I'm concerned. It seems like every time there's a new solution, it's temporary. And that's just, I think, a function of the times in which we live. The smartest people ever on the planet are here today. And most of them, fortunately, go and do great things for everyone with their talents. But when you have really smart people that decide to move the other way, you always have to deal with that. And that's just, I think we're going to live with that for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hope that it gets better, that this will be a more uncommon thing in the future. Maybe like fatalities on our roads in the future with autonomous vehicles, it won't be as common as it is now. But it's hard to say. So, but speaking of all this, we're talking about a lot of disruptive things, and you're here to actually tout a new project that you're working on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, our Disrupt Well Summit, and thank you, Marlo, for being part of the organizing team, is Halloween, October 31st at Bismarck State College in the Energy Center. While there are other technology conferences and summits in the state, I made it real clear in the beginning that we want to do something a little bit different. We want to talk about the opportunities and the challenges. We want to make sure that the region, Bismarck-Mandan, is not what I would say alienated from the conversation because of the talent that we have here and the impacts that we're all going to experience as a result of technology, most good, some questionable. And I thought it was only appropriate that a summit of this nature and then ongoing summits and discussions and ways to be engaged should be launched out of the capital city. And we have a wonderful team of folks that are organizing it, and you're one of them. Again, thank you so much. And we're excited about what that's going to be all about. As we discussed when we started putting the team together, depending on which global authority you go to, whether it's Deloitte, McKinsey Global, KPMG, the monster companies, the impacts globally are going to be in the area of $30 trillion annually come 2025. And so that is going to be a big game changer for all of us. And how do we take advantage of the opportunities that currently exist, will be created, those that are new, and then how would we deal with some of the challenges that we'll face as a result of these wonderful advancements. And you just mentioned one of them. Cybersecurity is a huge industry, critically important. Now, we won't focus too much on cybersecurity, even though we'll have some experts in the room. Dr. Hagrut is one of them. But we're not going to make that a focus of this particular summit. So thanks for bringing it up. Thanks for having me in. We are very, very excited. And by the way, you can register by going to disruptwell.com. And I would suggest you register because seating is very limited, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and again, it's October 31st, Halloween, which I think is a great day for a Disrupt conference, I guess, a disruption conference. So, and of course, if you're catching the show a little bit later or whatever, hop onto the website. This isn't just for Bismarck, North Dakota. This is for the entire country. So if you're listening to us wherever, make sure you get registered now because, like you said, seating is extremely limited for this event. So.
Yeah. And so let me talk about a couple of things that are taking place. First, we have the Innovation Challenge, which is officially closed. I think we had 10 submittals come in. And these are entrepreneurs, inventors, people that have a bona fide idea. It's not a barroom napkin or a kitchen napkin. They have somewhat proved it already, and they're submitting those ideas. They will have a team of very knowledgeable people in the economic development world reviewing them, and then they will be whittled down to 2 or 3 or 4. And there will be a significant recognition and prizes as a result. We will have panelists. The keynote is Governor Burgum. Mark Hagrut is a featured speaker. The Chief Technology Officer for Midco will be there. And then 4 panels: healthcare, autonomous vehicles and transportation, education, and I've just gone brain dead here. I can't think of the 4th off the top of my head.
Medicine, I believe.
Thank you. Yeah, healthcare. Yep. And so we will have those immediate disruptive technologies that are impacting us the most featured in those 4 panels.
Okay. And it's not just about, I always talk about job disruption too. I mean, you really have to get prepared nowadays for what's coming at us. You and I may not have to worry about this so much, but our children and grandchildren really have to worry about the jobs that they're going to have in the future. Simply because the jobs that are today are probably not going to be there tomorrow.
Oh, I would agree. Ball State University just released a study about a month ago that said over 55% of all jobs that we know of today will likely be impacted, if not go away, in retail, hospitality, manufacturing, and others. So it's, to your point, Marlo, it's critically important that people educate themselves and never stop doing that to make sure that you're always prepared for changes that come. And we look at Jim. He's been in the radio business a while. It's changed dramatically since he made this a profession.
Are you able to hang around for the next segment?
I'd be happy to.
All right, let's continue the conversation after the break with Mayor Mike Seminary and Cybernet Security Specialist John Nagel.
Right now, 53.
Dave Ramsey is heard here. Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek at facebook.com/The Tech Ranch or Twitter at Guru of Geek or thetechranch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we want to thank everybody who follows us across the country and around the world. We're on the Blueberry Network. We're on the Tech Podcast Network. If it's Take, it's here. We're on the Roku, iTunes, Apple TV, Tuned In, and, of course, our own app, Radio Pop. All kinds of places you can catch the Tech Ranch, either live or if you want to catch a show that we've done in the past. I always tell people, if you're listening to us, don't write things down. Just listen to us later because you don't want to be writing while you're driving, of course. So in the studio, we have John Nagel. He is the founder of Cybernet Security and the Bismarck mayor of Bismarck, North Dakota, Mike Seminary. We're talking about disruptive technologies. And John, why don't we have you weigh in a little bit on the where you think jobs are going to be in the future, and how do you see that?
So the way I look at it is tomorrow, I don't even think we really know, right? We just know that changes are coming. Moore's Law, I think, is going to apply or even accelerate as we look at jobs. But automation is going to change everything we do. In fact, the way I think about it or start to think about it is the factory floor of the future even going to have lights. Will humans even be needed? It could be that drastic.
It is, when you really start to think about where things are going, and just right now, I think about fast food restaurants, and they get down to just the most basic businesses that we have in the country. Kiosks are appearing to order our food. There are starting, in some of the fast food chains, robots are starting to cook our burgers. It's National Cheeseburger Day, by the way. I had to throw that in there. But you might be getting a cheeseburger today cooked by a robot someplace in this country. So there's just the most basic things that we, would have taken, that we take for granted daily, are going to start being taken over by robots. Our washing, our cleaning in our homes. all of this stuff. Our driving, everything is going to be impacted by this.
Yeah, Eatsa restaurant started, I believe, in San Francisco. If you didn't order your meal on your iPhone or its counterpart before you arrived, you walk in, and the only interaction you have with a human being is another customer. You order your food on an iPad, and then you watch your name move through these screens, and your food shows up, and you never see an employee of that company unless there's some kind of a problem. And we have a version of that in our McDonald's here over by the truck stop right off of the highway. McDonald's announced that over time, I don't remember if they have 14, 16, 19,000. They have a lot of stores in the United States. They're moving that way. And to John's point, we don't know what it's going to look like in the future. We just know it's going to change because it can, and it will. The ability for people to use technology to create a completely different environment and set of rules for all of us is here, and it's being exercised very liberally. And I say that not politically. I say because they can. And in many ways, it benefits all. Well, just look at AV, autonomous vehicles, something you're so passionate about, Marlo. If somebody would have told me 10 years ago that I would be able to take my iPhone, which I would have said 10 years ago, what is that? Because it was introduced 10 years ago.
Right.
And I would be able to summon my car. It would come out of my garage, come to me, shut the garage door, go about 225 miles on a single charge that will cost about 3 cents a mile. I would have said, you're crazy. That's Tesla.
Right.
Tesla 3. That's it.
Yeah.
And they're just getting started.
Yeah.
And General Motors has vehicles that they market and sell over in China, because China is one of those countries that is very rapidly going to absolutely restrict and then ban combustion engines. So they have an electric vehicle that sells for about $9,000 has some AV components in it. And so it's rapidly coming. And North Dakota will experience it faster than most people realize because of cargo, because of semis
right.
that crisscross our state. They're already being deployed in some way, shape, or form in testing them.
And it's always interesting that necessity is the mother of invention, and it couldn't. Even here it is true. The reason that China is accelerating to electric vehicles, they have a huge smog issue, absolutely huge. They cannot get this under control, and they look at electric vehicles as a way to do that, right? So you have that going on. I was getting to another point, and I forgot what it was now. But anyway, it really does accelerate, because of necessity. There's no doubt about it. So, John?
It's another interesting point around that is, too, where humans are being directly replaced, is Nightscope's got a security robot that's out there in the malls today. And it's actually being proven out in California and starting to roll out nationwide. There's a one-for-one relationship occurring right now today.
As a matter of fact, a great point, John. The in terms of age, the most advanced in terms of age country in the world is Japan. Average age is 44. And they have very, very restrictive immigration laws. And like most people, they don't make enough babies to lower the age, most countries, I should say. So understanding that years ago, they have very advanced technologies when it comes to robotics. For senior citizens, they have robots that help them down the halls of the mall. They have robots that help them dress themselves and do other daily activities in their home. So it is rapidly changing many aspects of our life. And so that's one of the purposes of the summit, not to just talk about some of the buckets of technologies people already know about, but how to get deeper involved in the discussion, how to prepare, what should we be doing as the capital city, what should we be doing as a state to make sure that we're relevant. You know, some of the most significant experts in the world say things are changing so rapidly that within 3 years you have to be prepared for different types of partnerships, different types of engagement. Gone are the days of going it alone. So if you have some kind of a plan, and we all have to do that, whether it's in our personal lives, in our business lives, in industry, as a state, in terms of politics, cities, state governments, and beyond. These are the types of summits where I believe, again, this is North Dakota's most important because of the changes that we're going through, that you should participate in to make sure you're dipping into that well of information and then being part of the continuous engagement in discussions that will result as a part of this moving forward beyond just the summit of the 31st at Bismarck State College.
So I remember what I was going to get to earlier. So we talk a lot about job disruption and getting prepared for what's going to be happening to us, right? I think, a lot of people are concerned that their jobs are going to go away and there's not going to be a way to replace it. And I think we need, one of the things that we need to understand is that you need to put your mind at ease about this, because as the production cost of certain technologies go down or producing a product goes down or whatever, it creates a lot of jobs around it. So we could take, for example, that landlines, original, telephony, that was happening across our country when we first wired the country so we can make phone calls across or whatever. Obviously, when the cell phone came along, it has decimated this industry, right? I mean, hundreds of thousands of jobs have been lost across this country. But because of cell phones, millions and millions and millions of jobs have been created. Maybe not the same type of jobs, but we have a lot more opportunity in this country now simply because we have the cell phone. So if you're a truck driver, that doesn't mean, it might mean in the future that you're not going to be driving a truck, but there's going to be just bountiful opportunity around that industry because we have driven the cost of moving goods across the country to a lesser plateau, so to speak. So maybe instead of costing $1.80 a mile, whatever it costs to move a truck across the country, maybe it costs $1, and because that goes lower, other opportunities appear because of that. So I think Pearson really has to understand that we're going to be in a job explosion 10 or 20 years from now because of this. We're not going to be shrinking our economy and our job possibilities. So,
and we've gone through this before.
Many times.
I'll never forget when Walmarts first started expanding across the country. First of all, there was uproar. There were cities that were not going to allow them to come because of the fear of disrupting the local retailer, putting the mom-and-pop businesses out of business. I was in this very business, the radio advertising business, back in those days. And so Walmart would come in and hold seminars and forums locally to talk about the fears that people have. And here's how we have experienced change in other marketplace. Here are the new opportunities. Here are the things you can do in your own business. And one of them I can think of as a great example is Woodmansey's. Woodmansey's many, many times had changed their business model to stay relevant in a world of competition against the biggest companies in the world, Staples, all of those, and Sam's Club and Walmart, and they made sure that they're always changing to make sure that they're relevant. So to your point, there will be lots of opportunities, and summits like this help us get the conversation started along that pathway.
All right. How do we register for the summit?
Disruptwell.com. www, if you have to do that anymore, disruptwell.com.
Okay. October 31st.
You bet.
And get your seats now because they are going to be going fast. After the break, everybody, we will continue, or actually we'll start a conversation on the new iOS 11 that will be coming out tomorrow. So you want to stay tuned for that.
Right now, 53.
The Red River Farm Network. Ag News is here on Super Talk 1270.
We're back to the Tech Ranch. Stream this program now at supertalk1270.com. Here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we were just talking with the Bismarck, North Dakota Mayor Mike Seminary on Disruptwell. October 31st in Bismarck, North Dakota. Very, very limited seating to this event. So we have great speakers, great panels that have been lined up on disruption for medicine, for energy. Now I'm going to miss the fourth one. Healthcare. No, I already said that. Medicine. Yes. Education. There you go. And then, of course, autonomous vehicles. So it's going to be a great conversation. You'll want to get involved with this. It's just a one-day conference. You know, you can come out on Halloween.
And they can call you for free tickets?
They can call you for free tickets. I'm just saying, John. I know you want to sponsor a few. Well, I guess we can't give out a few hundred tickets because we don't even have that many left anymore. So
no, just call Jim. We'll give his cell phone.
There you go. There we go. Yeah, he's giving us the thumbs up over there. So anyway, everybody, that's John Nagel. He's with Cybernet Security here in the Bismarck Mandan area as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about we're going to get to iOS here. We'll just go through some of the new stuff. So if you're going to if you have an iOS, so if you have an app or iPhone 5, 6,
iPad.
7, iPad, whatever, yes. Tomorrow on September 20th, they will be going to iOS 11. So I don't know, and I know you're not an iOS person either.
No, I'm an Android guy.
Yeah, so I am too. And Jim, you're Android as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The mayor was Apple.
He was.
He is an Apple guy for a long time.
We should have. That's right, man. We should have kept him here for a little bit longer. I forgot about that. Yeah. But I know a lot of people who have Apple, of course, and every time they come out with a new upgrade to an operating system, and it's no different on the PC side. I always tell people to wait a week or two.
I do too. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Just don't rush out, and when you get that notification on your phone tomorrow, if you're one of those that are going to be lucky enough to get that, just wait a little bit, because almost always there's a bug. Almost always. And I can't tell you how many times, even in our shop, when people will stop by and they've updated to the newest operating system, and their phone won't boot, it won't do this, it won't do that.
Other apps don't work from the store they load it on there. They'll figure it out as they go. But I agree,
they will.
Wait a week to 10 days and see what happens.
Yeah, and if there's something more major, I remember the big thing a couple of years ago, I forget what iOS version it was, but Maps didn't work, remember? I mean, their version of Maps, after they did the update, didn't work. People, in fact, it seems to me somebody drove into a lake.
It was crazy.
So it was crazy.
But you can believe everything you hear on the internet about that too.
Yeah,
100% true.
Absolutely. So anyway, but some of the stuff they're coming out with is pretty cool. So anyway, if you have an Apple or an iPhone 5S or later, all iPad Air and iPad Pro models, iPad 5th generation, iPad Mini 2 and later, and iPad Touch 6th generation will have the ability to upgrade. So probably the biggest feature, the overhauled version of Siri. Male and female voice, and it's supposed to be more natural now.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I love this, by the way. The voice of Siri liked me on Twitter. Follows me on Twitter. And
that's amazing.
I thought so too. So her nickname or her Twitter name is Seriously Susan, and it was spelled Siri, and it just caught my eye about that's an unusual way to spell seriously. So I went and looked at it up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the voice of Siri. Can you imagine having that gig?
I can't, but I would absolutely love it.
It would be fantastic.
They actually introduced who that person was, too. I can't remember her name, but they actually had her on TV. Do you remember where she was from? They actually captured her voice to do that.
I'm not sure. I know her first name's Susan.
I do know that too.
Yes. Susan Berkeley?
Is it Susan
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah.
Very good, yes. So, but I'm not sure where she hails
from. The geezer
from.
knows everything.
Yeah, he does. Well, he's been around forever, So, anyway, so Siri, and so she's obviously not going to be. I mean, there's a male voice that's coming in too, so I'm not sure who that is yet. That'll be interesting to see how that sounds. And then new translation capabilities.
I think that'll be a big plus.
Yes.
That's going to make a major difference, I think.
So I would imagine that Siri will listen to somebody speaking Chinese or French or what have you, and then transcode or translate it back to English for you and vice versa. So that'll be pretty handy.
Yeah, the machine language learning and machine response type learning I think will be beneficial, especially in very specific verticals. And broad topics, it's limited a little bit. But if you're talking about a specific thing, I think it'll be a huge advantage for everybody.
Well, and of course, we've had this capability for a little while. And it certainly is wonderful that when you travel to other countries that have other languages, that we have the ability now to actually communicate, at least read menus and understand road signs and that type of thing. So, Jim?
Susan Bennett is actually
there we
the
go.
voice. Susan Berkeley is a voiceover artist who is heard on a lot of things, but she is not the voice of Siri. Susan Bennett
is, yeah. Thank you for that correction there, sir.
No problem.
Indoor maps is going to be another feature. So if you're, in an airport, knowing how to navigate through the airport, you're going to have that ability with the new iOS 11 as well for your iPhone. Do not disturb while driving.
Finally.
It's kind of strange that this has this not been available before?
It's been available on Android for the last 2 versions. I know I use it all the time. So
I have a holder in my car that magnetic mount for my phone, and every time I put it on that magnetic mount, it knows that it's a do not disturb.
It's a little surprising.
It's kind of surprising,
but they do have something really cool coming, I think. I can't wait to see AI.
AR. Augmented reality?
Yeah.
Or is that what you're
Artificial intelligence.
Okay. Yeah, so the augmented reality feature is going to be available on the new. So this is cutting edge stuff, actually. I mean, it's like Pokemon. I mean, we had Pokemon Go that was available for iPhone and Android, So it's going to be like that, and they have a developer kit that's coming out for this. And that's what makes this interesting, so that, if you're a developer, you will be able to develop augmented reality scenarios. Let's say you're a mechanic and you work on, maybe you're a specialist on working on Ford Mustangs from the 1967 to the 1969 era. I'm just throwing this out. This is how cool this is going to be, everybody. You will be able to, as a developer, program an AR scenario so that when a person is looking to that engine through their glasses hooked up to their phone, iPhone or Android in the future, that they will actually be able to understand the parts, how to fix things, maybe even how to order parts. There's a company, I can't even divulge the name of it yet, but they actually have a privy to some IP, intellectual property here that I can't talk about yet, but they have a pay system built into their glasses. So if you want to buy something, you just tap. You kind of reach out in the air and say, I want that, and tap. So you could be looking at your engine and say, oh, that, and it'll tell you that this piece is broken or whatever, and it'll probably come up with a replacement part that you can purchase right where you're looking at it.
It's going to be really fun watching people out on the street, just in general, just pointing in the air and clicking around, just a little orchestrated ballet as you're walking down the street.
It'll be just like the first time you were introduced to somebody using a Bluetooth headset.
Oh, exactly.
And they're talking to themselves, right? I was in outside of Chicago the first time I ran into this, and this guy is just screaming outside of this meeting and flailing his arms into the air, and I'm like, who is this guy talking to? Because there was nobody around him,
Yeah, and people are pointing at you a little bit, like, what's he doing?
Yeah. It was unusual, and then you understand in a couple minutes that he has an earpiece on, and yeah. So nowadays you don't know if people are talking to themselves or talking to somebody else. So now it'll even get worse because people will be just pointing to things in the air and high-fiving things, and they don't really exist anymore, or in your realm. So
waving their hands in the air, swaying back and forth like they just don't care.
I was waiting for that, Jim. That's great. That's great. And they probably won't. So AR is going to be a big deal, I think. Pay people with messages. So if you're using Messenger with your iPhone,
it's a little bit of catch-up too, isn't it?
A little bit of a catch-up, but because this process has been around for a while. But if you have iPay or Apple Pay, you'll actually I can just send you, John, a message and send you $28 because I owe you $28.
You feel free to.
All right,
okay.
And that's everybody who wants to send John $28. They can do that. Okay. And then, of course, the Apple 10, which, of course, is also interesting, right? So we have Apple 8 that just came out. Everybody's, hoping to get their new Apple 8 phone, but it's the 10th year now of the iPhone. So now
Yeah.
they came out with Apple X. So are they going to have an Apple 9 next year? Or are they just going to skip over it like they did with Microsoft when so the PC went from 8 to 10 too, right?
It
for
did.
Windows.
It did.
If I remember. And now it's been at 10 for a couple of years now. So
9's the new 13.
I guess you're right. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to work in the future, because did they not create a kind of a marketing snafu by actually having an Apple 10 on the 8th version? I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
But the Apple 10 will have the facial recognition ID. So the only way you'll be able to activate your phone is it'll actually Face ID you, and then you can turn your phone on that way. So
Yeah, I can't wait to see the hacker reports on that.
that ought to be
That'll
interesting.
be really
Absolutely. I just can't wait to, and what happens if we put a little extra makeup on or whatever? I mean, will that throw the thing off? Or if I've been out working out for an hour and I'm sweating like crazy?
They
What
say
about
it works,
Halloween?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess these will all be things that we'll know as we move forward with it. So anyway, it's all coming up tomorrow, September 20th. So there'll be a lot of people that'll be excited about getting the new iOS 11. But like John and I said, please wait. Just wait a week or two.
Yeah.
Make sure they got the bugs out. Let everybody else experiment on it first, and let them have the issues before you hop in there. So after the break, John and I will be discussing how you can protect yourself from the Equifax issue, the hack, and all that stuff that's going on there. Come on back.
Right now it's 58.
On Twitter, Facebook, online, and YouTube. supertalk1270.com.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
I'm tired, so tired.
I'm not singing. It's not going to happen on the air.
There's my karaoke for my life right there. So anyway, John Nagel, Cybernet Security in-house, along with Jim Walsh, producer extraordinaire. We're going to be talking a little bit about the security breach at Equifax. Equifax.
I don't know if they're going to have much of a name after this is done anyway. So
It's
that's
tough.
to be seen.
Yep. So they claim that 150 million people they were hacked. Approximately 150 million people.
I think the real number's to be determined, right? They always
Okay.
tend to go up. So let's just say 40% of America right now.
Okay. So if that's the case, and I mean, I don't. How does it that they don't have everybody's Social Security number? Because I mean, it is one of the 3 reporting credit bureaus, right?
It is. So you wonder why they don't. That's why I said I think more to come. Stay tuned. We really won't know. I don't think they totally even know everything that they should today to release to the public and be fully transparent.
Okay.
It's going to come.
So just to catch everybody up, if you don't know about this, Equifax was hacked, 6 months ago?
It started in mid-May of this year, and concluded supposedly July 29th. Who knows if they're still in or not, but that's when they discovered them and actually took the web application web server offline at that point in time when they found out what had happened.
And then it took up until 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago before Equifax actually declared that they have been hacked. So there was a window, a long time window that nobody knew outside of the company.
That's what's so disturbing about this. It just has so many different issues on different levels because who they are, right? You had the Home Depot break, you had Target break, and they did a pretty good job of explaining to people. But when you think about Equifax and what the data that they and other credit bureaus provide, it's really a conduit for our economy and economic transactions. So that's why I think this one's so much more serious than the others.
These are the people that say yes and no to you getting a loan for your car or your house.
Or you getting an apartment on a lease.
Yes.
I mean, it's going to affect every bit of the economy.
Yes. Yeah. So this goes to a whole nother realm. And what I find interesting is that in order to find out if your information has been, hacked, so to speak, from Equifax, you have to go there and you have to, in order to identify yourself, you have to provide the last 6 digits of your Social Security number to affirm that I don't know if I trust anymore. And I want you to take that to the next level, John. What does that mean by giving somebody the last 6 digits of your social?
So when you think, I'll use 2 states. I'll use Iowa and North Dakota, just to give you a little breadth and depth in there. So in North Dakota, there's really 2 prefixes to your Social Security.
And that is?
501 and 502.
So if you were born here or if you got your Social Security while you're living in North Dakota, it starts with 501 and 502.
Correct. So all you need is 2 guesses to have your entire Social Security number.
So if you're if your computer that you're typing on has been compromised, let's say you got a virus going on your computer right now and they're keylogging you. If you type in the last 6 digits and they probably already know you're from North Dakota, 2 guesses and they got your Social Security.
Well, in Iowa you get 8.
8.
So
all
you're
8 of them.
Yeah, a little bit safer there in Iowa. So that's what's so disturbing about the process that they took about to find out if you, Marlo, were hacked. Have you done it? Have you?
I haven't because I don't trust it.
And you know what? That's what I feel the same way. That's the biggest pushback is, they're asking for information that they were supposed to protect, and now they want even more, right? They should already have this. There should be another means for them to actually check if you've been breached or not. So what I've been telling everybody is I think every American just has to assume that you've been breached over time. I mean, last year there was over 15 million identity thefts, right? 6,400 incidences when you want to throw some numbers at this, and over, $16 billion.
There has been talk about legislation to ban the use of Social Security numbers online for anything except actual Social Security business. Have you guys heard anything about that?
Haven't heard about this, but what would they use instead? Would they give us another ID?
Well, that's the question. I don't know. I'm just saying that some people are saying we got to stop. We got to make these people stop asking for your Social Security number, because here's where the problem is. And like you say, it's ridiculous. You want to find out if you were hacked, and they respond by asking you for that very number.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. Yes, yeah.
There's been talk for a national ID number for everybody, but again, would you come into the same issue?
I think you would.
Exactly.
It had to be something other than a number. I mean, it had to be like a thumbprint or
biometrics.
Yeah,
it was never supposed to be a national ID. It was supposed to be for your, the money you get when you retire. Supposedly,
that's correct.
Well, we have a lot of retirees here in the state, and the Medicare card actually has a Social Security number on there.
Right.
They're finally changing that next year. Hooray.
Right.
Some driver's licenses in some states, they use it as your ID number.
They did it until very recently here in North Dakota, and
Yeah.
they just finally changed that too. So yeah, it's been a scary thing for a long time. So talk about freezing your account. So is this a good thing to do? I mean, is it something that will help you?
It will definitely help you, but I look at it this way. Depending on where you are in your life and in your career, if you're young and you freeze your account and you're trying to build a credit history and people calling in to check on you, it could just inhibit what you're trying to do and could slow things down for you. As you go through it, you're more mature instead of old. Let's just use the word mature today. It may be the best thing to do is to actually.
So somebody my age, for example, who I just bought a car. Probably the first time I've had a credit check on myself for anything in years.
That would have impacted that.
Right, because I would have to call the credit bureaus and let them know that I'm going through this process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I was going to finance the car, right? So yeah, so I can see where that would, but I mean, to me, it's an easy step to go on freeze the accounts, right?
It is. It takes a little bit of time, but it'll work. There's a few things you could actually do that to lead up to it. Let's talk about that a little bit. One, find out if you're impacted. But if I had to go to Equifax, I'd probably call them. They've got a number out there. It's out on their website. I would call them instead of putting it in online.
Sat on the phone over an hour before I hung up the other day after that.
So
they don't they have the number, but it's going to take time to find out.
So the next best thing to do is go to the other 2 credit bureaus, Experian and TransUnion.
Yes.
I think those are it, and actually get your credit, check it out, go through it in detail. And actually, you should do that more than once a year. You get one free from each one. So every 4 months, just take a look at it, especially now.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. The other thing you can do here, Jim, too, is you can actually go out there and put alerts on your charge cards, your bank accounts. Anytime there's a transaction, money in or out, you'll get a notification. That would be a great thing to do.
Well,
too.
if it's big enough, they'll call you anyway. Like last time I bought a laptop computer, they called me. They said, we have a report, X number, $1,100 was that you? Yeah, right. That was me. That was fine. Right. But I'm glad they called.
Right. And they're getting better and better about that. But to me, it's the little ones. The ones that you don't really think about, these little $3, $4, or $5 things. And, I was reviewing this with somebody here not too long ago. You don't think about it.
Right.
You don't. You bypass it. There's a buck on my card.
Yeah, there's $3 on the card. You're like, oh, what the heck was that for? Oh, it's not even worth worrying about, right? Well, the thing is that they know this, and there are millions of people being charged us every month for this one particular scam that's going on. They're making money hand over fist on this thing.
There was a report, by the way, on Facebook last week. Somebody supposedly in town here got scammed by one of those ATM deals where they attached the device to the ATM.
Yep. Yeah. There's There's just so many
There's so
ways.
many ways.
That's why I'm so tired.
Oh, I can imagine. The one other key point I want to bring to bear here is this. If you have been a victim or could be a potential victim, one thing we should all do really this year is file our taxes early. You want to beat those scammers because they're going to get in and they're going to be filing left and right ahead of you.
Right.
And if they get that tax return ahead of you, it's going to take a long time
Oh my
to get
goodness,
it back.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go in and you can freeze your credit so that you can have new credit established.
Correct.
So you can go to your credit reporting bureaus, TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, freeze it, and then there can be there is no way that they'll allow a report to go out or anything on that, correct? Until you go in and say otherwise.
That's right.
Okay.
And so that's probably the best thing to do.
Okay, and then you can get the alerts.
You can get the alerts
from your credit card
and don't
companies.
forget identity theft and credit card monitoring. I mean, Equifax is offering it, but they're offering their brand. You might want to get somebody else's.
Yep.
By the way, is it just an urban legend, or is it true that the guy? Remember the guy a couple of years ago who was pitching the security system, and he was driving around the country with his social security number on the side of a big truck?
So that's
LifeLock.
LifeLock, yeah.
Is it true that he got hacked?
I'm not sure if he got hacked or not, but he did eventually take his social security number down. I think I don't think he got hacked. But he had some other people trying to impersonate him using that number anyway. Because sometimes you don't need to go through all the credit reporting stuff to still take advantage
Again,
of that.
a cautionary tale, however it worked out.
Yes. But what do you think of a place like LifeLock or things like that?
There's many of them out there. You just have to pick the one that is best for your need. Depending on what industry, and if you're a small business owner, you probably should escalate and get a little bit better one. But typically, LifeLock's a great one to start with.
And
it's
that's
like $10 a month.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the only measure you take.
Right.
No,
right,
absolutely not.
All right, John, Jim, thanks. Great show today,
Thank
guys.
you.
Take care,
Thank you.
everybody.